Hey there, change agents. It's Courtney and Lena from Kynection. Our series, Kai Meets Dogbert, is the oasis in the desert for business leaders thirsty for a lift in the dry conversation of quality, health, safety, and environment. Are you asleep yet? Hope not, because in every episode, we will explore the parody of the Dilbert comics by Scott Adam against the backdrop of Industry X or Industry 4.0. We will cover many topics from compliance audits to advances in BizTech with a focus on our digital backbone, the one system as we call it. Let's drink. Okay, Lena.
Hi, Courtney.
Into episode number 5 of the Kai Meets Dogbert series. We've covered some ground in the last 4 episodes. Can you tell us a little bit about what we've talked about and give the audience a bit of a refresh?
Yes, we spoke about organizational context, leadership, planning, and on the last episode number 4, we spoke about support and the cancer camp.
Yeah, and that was a great episode. I really enjoyed doing that with you. We're still with Blonde over here, which is great. So on that note, today's episode is about Clause 8, operations.
Operations, yeah.
It's a big clause in that it covers a lot of content, and we're going to do it over a few weeks to make sure we don't miss anything. And in today's session, we're going to focus pretty heavily around the concept of the digital backbone and how important that is to delivering a better operation. That'll come in later. We will certainly talk to a case study, and a case study did our hearts because they're a customer of ours. Yep. And then finally, we will roll straight into some innovation and conversation around innovation, digital backbone, and the one system design that we find to be our point of difference in innovation.
Our customer also has some really good innovations that Courtney is going to talk about.
Absolutely. Well, as always, we have to bring some alignment back to our Dilbert series that we've identified as being a bit of a satire on business. We think every week just having a little bit of humour, reflecting on who you are, where you fit in the world, and some of the realities that you forget about, which I think Scott Adam presents very well. So in lining with that, we believe that the conversation around operations is that if you do nothing, that can also be a decision. And when it comes to our clients and some of the conversations we've had with Kone, we run a workforce of 1,400 people. That's correct. We're giving you a little bit of heads up on who the case study is. This is absolutely paramount in respect to how they manage their business. So we're going to talk about Clause 8, ISO 9001. We're going to specifically delve into a little bit of the operational improvements that can be achieved and reference that to Kone. And then finally, we are going to make sure that we always smile as we deliver our content all the way through. Okay, so yes, I did give away our case study today, Lena. Our case study is a client of ours, someone we're very proud to have as a customer. And the reason why is because they are extremely innovative in the way in which they do business, which we really enjoy being part of. But they are also have some huge challenges. And I think it's very befitting that we do an innovation series, but we link to our customers where applicable. When you've got 1,400 staff members, all remote, all doing complex and risky things, like being in an elevator shaft every day, those are organisations that really need to have their skills and their capabilities together for operations. So can you talk a little bit about the linkages between Kone and their operations, well, at least Clause 8 of ISO 9001?
Yes, so one of the more important things of the clause is products and services. So different considerations that have to be made for products and services, communication with customers, and execution of operations. So what you want your products and services to look like, how you deliver them, different assessments that you're doing around it, and then different operations that you are doing post-delivery. So everything that involves the planning of the delivery, the execution of the delivery, the end assessment of the delivery of the product. And you need to match it with the customer expectations and exceed the customer expectations. So everything around it. That's just in short. And Kone excelled in this area because Kone continuously innovate and provide new solutions to moving people around and help them move in the world.
Yeah.
Courtney can talk around that.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And look, when we met Kone over 5 years ago, one of the things that was most delightful for our organisation was that they were pushing innovation. And whilst many of the other competitors were still using paper and pen, Kone had already stepped into digital, but were looking to enhance the digital experience. And that was to improve safety or bake safety into their operational outcomes. So we talked about managing a workforce of 1,400 staff in complex and challenging environments. And one of the key things that we talked about was how do you do it in a way that ensures the safety of the teams around you and that meets the requirements of a worker who's constantly thinking about privacy and the management of privacy. So there's so many variables to think about you have to wade through. But one of the most resonating pieces of conversation I had around operations with their team and executive was the fact that they needed to get the most efficient use of time to ensure that their customers got the best outcomes. And what that means is you've got 1,400 people that you need to make sure that when they're at a site, on a site delivering, they're doing all of the things they need to, those non-productive things like safety checks and assessments, but we can fit all of those into a productive day that gives a client output in a complex work environment, right? So Kone really excels on that front. Some of the other innovations, you've only got to jump on their websites to see ultra rope. So imagine trying to do a lift that's 1 kilometre high. Now, I don't know if people out there in the audience realise, but just the rope that sits above the lift that allows you to go up and down, that can be in the tons of weight, not kilograms, tons. So they had to come up with innovative ways where they added more height to reduce weight, but also to ensure that they don't reduce the amount of likely safety of the elevator going up to 1 kilometre high. One of the other innovations which we felt was fantastic was their ability to work in the pre-construction and early construction phases by building lifts to get workforce to the top floors quickly and efficiently.
Jump lift.
And that was jump lift, right? So, yeah, innovation is a continuum. There is no ending point. And just because it's new today doesn't mean that it's not going to be old tomorrow. And it's really important. Putting your customers at the centre, creating delight through enhanced products and services that are unexpected, constantly evolving, constantly innovating, and improving that productivity piece, but not forgetting those important operational pieces of safety. I think they're a great case study, and we're super proud to be a supplier. Well, that was a bit of fun. It's always nice to talk about our customers when we're talking about the inspirational series of ISO, particularly in this instance because they are so innovative. To step up and think you can build a company like Kone when all of their competitors had a grasp of the market shows signs that they were doing something really, really, really capable and that they used points of differentiation in their operations. So when it comes to innovation, one of the things that we believe it's critical to consider is how you align that to our Zen principles. We're creating some Zen principles in this series. No, not in truth. But what we have said here in this series is that we're trying to demonstrate that it's important that you do the basics first. So we agree with the Zen philosophy, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. But what the bit that we think that Zen didn't know about was digitisation, right? And so we say after enlightenment now, once you got the basics in place, start putting some cool shit in. And in this instance, we've said press the submit button and make sure it's connected to an automation series of tasks. And so, yes, think about the way in which you deliver in your operations, but certainly look at those innovative elements that can improve how you deliver, and digital has to be that. Maybe you could give the audience a little spiel about Marcel Tellez, and we can continue a little bit about innovation conversation.
Yeah, so Marcel Tellez basically said that if you want to do great things, you need to make sure that your basic things are in place first. So, for example, if you want to submit a tender for the military or for a very, very big national project, they will want you to be ISO certified.
Pretty simple, that one, yeah.
So you want all your systems to be ready. You want all your systems to be in place. And one of the ways in which you can make that happen quickly is have an integrated management system, especially a digital one.
Oh, yeah, I agree. So, we talk about clients in this series that show innovation and leadership. And certainly as we evolve out, we like to talk about innovation, how it links to Kynection, the digital backbone and the one system approach. So we will continue that discussion, and we will get into a detailed conversation around something that was linked to Kone, which is asset management. So here at Kynection, we tend to believe that if you have one system that is innovative, that ticks most of the boxes, not all the boxes, doesn't need to tick all the boxes, but ticks most of the boxes, then you're a long way ahead of most people in business today. We try to avoid the conversations around spaghetti systems, which is hundreds of systems across your business where none of them really talk. We try to avoid conversations around paper because it's bad for the environment, and molding, very inefficient. And so we believe that the system, the one system approach, is a sum of the parts. You need to think about how it relates to those little facets of logging in. That can be a pain for a lot of people if you've got multiple logins. That's one. Perhaps the concept of having one supplier to wring their neck if something goes wrong. One help desk, so to speak. It's always nice. One invoice. That's always generous in terms of time and energy when you're chasing around trying to get things paid and organised. But more importantly, in today's conversation, I think take the one system approach aside. You still need a capable technology module or foundation within your business in a specific business unit. So, asset management. Can you give me some examples of how Kai, our little mascot, has made him, our system, so fantastic?
Yes. So, in Kim, you have different applications that allow you to manage your equipment, your assets, and your inventory. You can create categories for any of these. You can create categories for equipment, for machinery, for different assets that you have, and for different types of stock that you need to order. And with all of these, you can assign different calibration and maintenance routines that you need to undertake. And you can also process any payments and create purchase orders and invoices, restock everything, and assign tasks for people to maintain the system as well.
Absolutely. So we know that assets, equipment, plant and etc. are one of the highest costs of running a business. They normally say a third, and equipment being one of the third. It's critical then and imperative that you've got the best outcomes when you've got your machines in the field. So maintenance, it's crucial. But what's hidden behind maintenance is having equipment off the road or out of the field or out of service. And so it's really important that you're thinking about your operational tasks and how you're delivering those, but also how you maintain your equipment such that you don't impact those operational tasks. That's where the dollars come in, right? So that's one. Maintenance is big. Calibration is a big one. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So in the same way that you can set up your maintenance, you can also schedule your calibration assessments and even schedule different planned lab inspections that you need to organize schedule or on your project scheduler, you can drag and drop the people and the equipment that you want to be on specific sites. And if the particular equipment is in service or off the road, you won't be able to use this equipment. It will show in a different color. So at any point, you know exactly what the situation with the equipment is. Yes.
Yeah, no, totally. And look, you know, in terms of calibration, test and tag, these are all things that it's nice to have in one system. You don't want to be having your maintenance system over here and your test and tag over here. Everything in one system helps a lot from a management point of view of your assets. And I think more critical to that is that assets are remote. And so the concept of having a partner or a supplier that understands both hardware and software is critical too. You know, we know GPS exists. It's been around for a couple of decades now, but there's new and exciting IoT, Internet of Things, products that are coming out every day. And therefore you need a system that can bring that data in remotely without human intervention, things like odometer readings for maintenance cycles, things like hours of use for maintenance cycles. These are things that traditionally were very hard to do because it required human intervention, whereas now it can be automated down to high value, very specific actions that are required across your plant and equipment.
You can also assign geolocations.
Yeah, entry and exit points, all of those sorts of things which are huge. Inventory, massive, stock control. These are all things that cost businesses tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars and can easily just be absorbed in the business function without even consideration because you've got nothing to measure. You've got no tools, you've got no data. And that's where innovation comes into its fore, is putting systems in that add value, that grab information from the field or from your human resource to get better understanding of managing your operations, particularly under Clause 8 of ISO, per our conversations. And you know, without linking extremely to the case study we did prior, Kone did some amazing things around asset management that allowed them to go out, undertake risk assessments so that they could control the way in which their employees managed the assets. So this is assets for their customers, managing their assets as well. And all of those in one system. Probably the biggest one was building in a safe at work mechanism as well. You know, basically a tool that said, hey, I'm in trouble. I can either press the button and what this tool did was provided a way to respond quickly, first response style, to that person in need. And that was by using their workforce. Because they had found that their workforce response, looking after your mate, was a quicker response than using an external help desk or a third party. So innovation tied to delivery, you just can't go wrong.
In our next episode, we are going to expand about leaking and lagging indicators and talk a little bit more about the requirements of Clause 8 through another customer, another case study.
Absolutely. So onwards and upwards. I'm betting that you're still blonde next time. Put some money on that one. Try and win that bet off me. I dare you. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the conversation. Hope you enjoyed the content and we'll continue to drive this through to a complete ISO series with a whole heap of inspirational clients.
Special thanks to our clients and partners for contributing to our knowledge as we continually improve KIM, our one system, built for Industry X. Additionally, we would like to give thanks for the inspiration of this series to Scott Adams, who brought to light the most frustrating aspects of business in his Dilbert series. Scott wore many hats and jobs while creating the Dilbert comic series. Dilbert was first launched in 1989 and now appears in 2,000 newspapers in 57 countries and 19 languages.